Good morning, guys. Today we're going to talk about the differences between the X1 and the X1 Mini. I use these juicers every day. I juice on them for hours a day, except for Sunday. But most of the time you can find me here juicing on these machines, and you guys are always asking which one should I buy for my juicery. So today we're going to go in depth, hopefully not too in depth, on these machines. If you guys are new here, welcome to the channel. We document our juicery and all the behind the scenes stuff. I do a lot of at-home juicing stuff too. We have been in business since 2013. My sister and I started JK Juices out of the Bluffton Farmers Market. We graduated to a food truck, and then just last August we opened this storefront. You can watch the whole renovation as well as back to On the Truck. There's playlists for all of these. There's also playlists for the X1 and the X1 Mini. I think I have over 30 videos on this juicer, maybe 10 on the X1. We just got the X1 back in January, so she's still relatively new to us, but you can definitely check out those playlists if you want to go more in depth or find something specific that you're looking for there. We are a medium-sized juicery. Very quickly, and you guys have been watching this, if you guys follow our daily journey here, you guys have been watching over the last couple weeks with our kiosk that Jordan is at right now, and our farmers markets coming up, as well as just we're quickly producing more and more juice. Even like this morning alone, we'll get into all of this, but this morning alone I think we've sent out 50 to 70 juices, and I did all of that on the X1 Mini. Our bottle size is a 12-ounce juice. And before we even talk about like pros and cons of these machines and output and all of that, it's important to realize that the max output of the juicer is dependent on the juicer. One of the big things I love about the X1 Mini is it's so user friendly. Anybody can pick up juicing on this machine very quickly. Judith, if you hear me call our X1 Judith, that's what her name is, and we actually call her that. Judith is a little more technically challenging. There's different blade sizes, different press bag sizes. It's a little more to learn and to take on. You also have to clean the press bags, make sure those are thoroughly sanitized. There's a little bit more that goes into using Judith. Not to mention all the other variables that go into juicing. So, are your bottles labeled? Are they cleaned already? Do you have to date mark your lids? There's a lot of so many variables that go into max output, which is why when people ask the question like, how many juices a day can I make on the Mini? I like to give a rough estimate of 100 juices, 12-ounce juices a day on the Mini is a safe estimate. A normal day for me, and I have so many days in the life of videos, you can literally watch us evolve as a juicery here on YouTube. But a normal day includes juicing for 3 to 4 hours on the Mini. And when you're in a food service industry, that's how shifts work. You have to sanitize equipment and sanitize your juicers every 4 hours. That's pretty universal, but definitely check with your health department. So a normal day for me will be a 4 to 5 hour shift, depending on cleanup and whatnot. But today is a very heavy day for us. Today's a big day, our biggest day of the week. We have kiosks going on, we have huge cleanses going on, we have a lot going on. And I was able to fully do this on the Mini. The Mini is fully capable of sustaining a medium. It's so hard because if you live in like Columbus, Ohio, it's just, I don't know, for my area, and we serve anywhere up to 150 to 100 juices a day. The Mini can definitely sustain that. And I'm only juicing 3 to 4 hours a day. Obviously you can make, that's just a variable of time. If you want to, and somebody asked me this recently, how long would it take to juice like 240 something juices, like a 40 person 1 day juice cleanse, and that would be like a 12-hour day, and depending on, and so many things go into this, but rest assured, like, the Mini is an incredible machine to get your juicery up and running. I have only used the X1 a handful of times, and you can go watch every time I've used the X1. It's in the X1 playlist. I'll link it down in the description. But the times that we did use her, it was to fit hundreds of juices into a 3 to 4 hour time frame. Some juiceries will juice only 3 times a week, but they'll juice a ton of juice. Whereas here at JK Juices, we really value fresh made juice. It's just what we want as consumers. So I will juice every day smaller batches on the Mini. And where I think you outgrow the mini is when you're making more than 100 juices a day. And I could even state, like, if I wanted to work an 8-hour day and do 2 shifts of juicing, that output obviously like doubles. And I know there's like a lot of fear here, like you have no idea. If you're buying a juicer, you have no idea what to expect. You have no idea how like things are gonna work, how much juice you're gonna need to make. And I had a lot of that like fearful thinking when I started juicing here and supplying the demand. But know that like you are in full control of huge bulk orders. Like those only happen if you advertise them. We didn't advertise cleansing until we got Judith. 5 years into JK Juices, and we hadn't advertised cleansing. We just put out 6-packs because we got Judith and felt comfortable that we could advertise those. So yes, there's this huge fear of like, am I gonna be able to make enough juice? Am I gonna be able to sustain it? Am I like, it's okay if you can't. Like if you sell out, you sell out. We could only make so much juice in the truck, in our juice truck. We would sell out every day, which is when we said, okay, it's time to get a storefront. So whether you cap out at 3 hours of juicing a day and whatever you can make in that 3 hours is what you sell that day, like that's perfectly, like don't feel like overwhelmed because you're scared that you can't make, I don't know. I hope that I'm breaking this down in a way that's helpful for you guys and not like, ugh. Basically what I'm trying to say is the X1 Mini is more than enough to get your juicery up and running and you can fully sustain a ton of juice. I know a lot of you guys start these out of your home. The messages we get are just, y'all are too sweet to us, seriously. Juicing has changed your life and you want to share it with people, and a lot of you guys are starting juiceries out of your home and taking orders for people. Your juicery is as big as you want it to be. I know we can get like in our heads and be like, like what if it just like, I do it all the time. But know that like you are in full control of the output of your juicery, how much work you want to put into it, how much work you don't want to put into it. It's when you go over that 100 juices a day, which is a lot of juice, that's when you need to get the X1. It's just not realistic unless you have somebody that wants to spend their whole day juicing on the Mini. So Judith, obviously, she's huge. She's 4 times as big as the press chamber is 4 times as big. You can make 20 juices in one press compared to like 3, 4 to 5 juices in one press on the Mini. So huge time saver. We are so blessed to have both of these machines. Like the fact that I'm standing here like, and both of these are in our kitchen is just crazy. To the people that are just starting and like know that you'll get here. You'll get to the point where you need an X1. I know it might feel like it's just kind of scary. So as far as quality of juice, I have never had a better juice than I have made on this machine. This machine does such a good job of extracting flavors and greens, and it's just the texture of it. I love juice made on this machine. My favorite juicer to date. I have been using the X1 Mini since August, and I've used it as our main juicer. Again, I've only used Judith maybe 10 times, and part of the reason is because I love the flavor and the texture and the quality of juice that the X1 Mini makes, which is why you will see me when I'm juicing on Judith also using the X1 Mini. So I will run ginger, lemon, kale, all of our flavor components through the Mini and add it to the massive like 15 pounds of carrots. like 20 pounds of apples. So Judith can handle the big liquid-based stuff and get that out of the way. And then I love the mini for the flavor, and just the extraction on the mini is incredible. And we've talked about this in, gosh, there's so many videos here on the channel. I don't know exactly which one it was, but we've talked about if you're solely running off of Judith and want to get an incredible extraction off of your greens and ginger, there are commercial masticating juicers available that will get you a good extraction. I think it's the Cuvines C7000. They're NSF and have a 24-hour operation time. You could run it for your 3 to 4 hours that you're juicing and get some good flavor and extraction off of that. We've just been so spoiled with the X1 Mini and the flavors and the textures. It was hard to not get that same extraction on the X1. So I think it even says on these boards, Jordan took one of these over to Marathon, but it says like to blend up the greens before you press them. If you know you're going to be doing like hundreds of juices a week and you don't want to mess with, you just don't want to deal with the Mini, definitely the X1 it's going to get the job done. You're going to have a ton of juice in your fridge. You won't have to worry about kind of pushing those boundaries of max output. But even if you juice, like it's very popular that this is only used 3 times a week, but we use this every day. So it's all proportional, and there's so many. I know it feels like if you're looking to buy one of these machines and start your juicery, it feels like these numbers and outputs are very like strict guidelines, and this is how it's going to be and this is what's going to happen, but that's not how it is. Like, you are in full control of the output of your juicery and what you make and what you want to serve. What you market is what you're going to sell. It wasn't until we started offering the 6-pack and cleanses that we started to sell 6-packs and cleanses. If you have an X1, you're going to need a big commercial kitchen, a 3-bay sink. You could probably make it work without, but cleaning the hopper, which is huge, and I have a whole video on cleaning the X1. It's just a big machine. It takes up a lot of room, takes up a lot of sink space. You do have to clean the press bags. There's a lot of cleanup involved with Judith, but it takes me about an hour, including the press bag, and just, she's a lot. So I always take into account the time, the amount of juice I can make on the Mini in that hour, and is it worth it? Because the Mini only takes 15 minutes to clean, makes a lot less mess. It's just smaller. So like today, I opted to juice. I juiced for 4 hours, sanitized the machine, juiced for another 2. I literally cleaned out the fridges today. We're out of produce. So today I juiced 40 to 50 juices for a kiosk. I juiced 3, 6, 9, 12. I would say 20 to 30 juices in the cleanse orders. So right there, we're almost to 100, and that doesn't even include the stock in the fridge. And then whatever we had left went up front in the stock in the fridge. So juicing 6 hours on the Mini was more than enough time to make a lot of juice. Whereas if I used Judith, I probably could have got it done in 4-hour shift and cleaned her for another 5 hours, cleaned the Mini. Like 5.5 hours I could have finished up. But I like juicing on the Mini. It's just, Judith is so large and in charge. And I wasn't like pushing myself, like I wasn't going out of my way to juice extremely fast or like turbo mode. Sometimes turbo mode is necessary, but most of the time you just want to work at a nice, steady, consistent pace, and that's what I did today, and I was able to make plenty of juice. So if you're working on a food truck, X1 really isn't manageable, and the X1 Mini would be a great option. It does require, if you're juicing out of your home, the X1 requires 220 outlets. The Mini just runs off a standard outlet. The fan is no longer an issue. We have one of the original X1s, so they've since fixed that problem. So don't worry about the fan that we installed. We just installed that as a precautionary thing when I broke the X1 Mini hopper. Don't run, look at your user manuals, but I don't run anything on the Mini through the dishwasher anymore. When I did, and again, you can find all these videos in the Mini playlist, we did have to replace the magnet in there But when I did that, if you guys follow me regularly, you know that I've been kind of struggling with the hopper, with the plunger and the blade. Charlie reached out and he thinks that there is some suction going on, which there is. When he said that, I was like, ooh, yeah, there kind of is. And he asked me if there was any reason that the hopper or plunger may have shrunk. And I said, I did put this through the dishwasher, but it also does need descaled, so I'm gonna try to do that. The plunger is just fitting in that hopper a little tighter and it's creating some suction. I'm gonna try and descale it first, and if that doesn't work and give me a little bit more airway, then we're gonna get a new hopper and plunger and see if that works. And then if that's still not doing anything, then I would think that it's the blade that needs sharpened, but these are like microscopic little details. Thank you, Charlie, for reaching out. Good Nature's customer service is incredible. We love these juicers. They're made here in America. We know the company, we know the people. They genuinely care about the juicing industry and where it's going. Really great company. It doesn't so much matter the machine. If you go over 100 juices a day, it does. You need the X1. But it's more so the processes and the procedures. Like if you have somebody bottling for you, that right there can double your output. So you'll get comfortable and you'll learn your process and procedures the more that you use whatever juicer it is that you go with. The important thing is that you're happy with the juice that you're serving and your customers love it. They'll work with you within your limits or wherever you are, and the X1 is a great first step to get a juicery up and off the ground and running. If you guys are curious about the Samak is a nice, safe peace of mind that upgrades your X1 Mini's output. Like, I don't have an exact number, but it's a lot. I made a video on this a couple days ago, so if you already have a Mini and you can't make the jump to the X1, these are both like $15,000 to $20,000 juicers, very expensive. The Samak will give you enough space in there to comfortably fulfill the demands of 100 plus juices a day without having to spend the money to get the X1 until you can manage to do it. No, it doesn't change the quality of juice. Cold pressed juice is chopped or ground and then pressed. It's a two-part system. The Samak does an awesome job of prepping the produce. The Mini is more than capable of doing what it's advertised to do. 100 juices a day, like 30 juices an hour. It's more than capable of doing that. The Samak just takes it to a whole different level. If you have the Mini and you're maxed out on time and energy and you're just like, I can't do this anymore, but I can't afford Judith, look into getting a Samak food processor. The X1 Mini is made to be a front of the house, made to order cold press machine, which is really cool. But we use it to sustain our juicery. Pairing the X1 Mini with a bigger grinder allows you to kind of get the best of both worlds. So you get this big size grinder and hopper. You're able to grind the 1 3 to 5 pound batch press cycle in a couple seconds, and you're able to continue to work on the next press cycle. So you grind, dump, similar to the CT7, dump, press, and while that's pressing, you're able to keep grinding. So grind, press, dump, grind, blah, 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 blah. This morning, I juiced 20 stalks of celery in 20 minutes using the Samak. I just juiced 21 stalks of celery in 20 minutes using this. 3 stalks at a time, cut in half, pressed on a single press cycle. I juiced 15 pounds of carrots. I wrote this down. 15 pounds of carrots in 20 minutes. The Mini isn't designed to do that like crazy amount of juicing. I feel like I'm back on the truck with all these sounds and using the Samak. This would be helpful if, again, you're maxing out the max output of this machine, or if somebody comes in and cleans out the fridge, orders like a 5-day juice cleanse, you're like, oh crap, there went all my stock. You can whip out the Samak, grind, press, and you can have juice, lots of juice very quickly. I also think that this is a game changer for celery. No juicer can handle, Judith can handle celery, but no like cuvines or masticating juicer handles celery well. The Samak handles celery very fast. You can do 3 stalks in the Samak 5 seconds it's ground. You can press all that at once. So you can essentially press 3 stalks of celery in like 2 minutes. It's just one of those things that's nice to have in your back pocket that you can whip out when you need to. Otherwise, 90% of the time, the Mini is more than efficient enough to provide and sustain our juicery. It wasn't until celery became a thing and I was reluctant to get out Judith because I don't like cleaning her, that I whipped out the Samak, and it has not disappointed. Celery is one of those things that people buy like 5 packs of, 6 packs of. So if you're juicing a ton of celery, grab yourself a Samak. We got ours from Good Nature. I don't know if Good Nature sells those, but that Samak came with our CT7. So the CT7 was like the first gen of the X1 Mini. It didn't have a grinder on top. It just had a press chamber. All right, guys, that wraps it up. I hope that this kind of breaks down and gives you guys some peace of mind on the differences between these two machines. If you guys have other questions, leave them down in the comments. I'll try and answer them all. I really hope this gives you guys some peace of mind when you're picking out your juicer. Whatever juicer you pick, you'll make it work and you'll figure it out. And one day you'll wake up in your commercial kitchen with an X1 and an X1 Mini and a full-blown juicery. You just got to keep going one day at a time. Pick something today that you can get done today and do that to the best of your ability. You'll get there eventually. Definitely check out the playlist if you guys are looking for something specific. If you guys want to see something specific, definitely leave it down in the comments. Thank you guys for tuning in and for following our journey. So many of you guys have been here since we started way back when out of the farmer's market. This Saturday is our first farmer's market back. If you guys are starting a new juice bar or currently have a juice bar, comment down below your Instagram handle and what juicer you currently have. I want to follow along your guys' journeys as much as possible. We love sharing this experience with you guys. We will see you on the next video. Thanks for watching. Bye. Straight off.
Oh my goodness.
Turn it around this way. The produce in there, and you shove it all in there, and then you can remove those easily. And first time juicing in the truck with the new juicer. This is pretty momentous, so we thought we would get the camera. Darn it! I dropped a piece of pulp. Here we go.
There it is, there it is, there it is, there it is. Veggies in here. Grinds it here. Comes out here. Straight into a press bag. Presses it out. Fills this tray into this pitcher. Oh, is that gonna fit through the door?
Don't worry about that. I might just have to break it down and bring it in piece by piece. You know? Hello.
Hello, how are we doing?
Good.
Yeah.
Hey.
Wow, that's really big. Let's get some tools.
We're just gonna have to take it apart piece by piece. That's really our only option. We can't get it through the door. I know there's a big chute, there's this, there's just a lot of little pieces. So we're gonna bring in piece by piece through the door. Cause it's huge. This is silly.
New toys. Cool. Where are the wheels? It's on wheels? Yeah, it's on wheels. No, we're just gonna, you see this, it's the main part, we'll be able to roll it. Just so. This is all separate, this is separate. We'll just have to disconnect it down. Oh, nice. We can ramp it up to there, yeah. We can ramp it out and then reposition.
Yep. Perfect. So I guess we want to take off the plastics and get the loose
Side
pieces.
stuff. Yeah. Yeah, I'm like, I need to enjoy this. Like, I feel really like, ugh. I don't know.
This does have 220. Yeah, it does. So it's got wheels. We're gonna ramp it down, ramp it up. We're gonna have to measure width and just make sure. What if we can't get through the door? No, we'll be able to. We better measure that. Oh well. Oh yeah. Okay. Get this guy and that guy and all the things, and then just get the rest in.
Really thankful that it came today, not last week when we were open.